Yo, what's up guys? Universal Mastery. So, what I do on my channel is I talk about the occult sciences and I break them down to a very practical level so that you can use them and you can apply them in your day-to-day life to get actual, real results. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is something that's a little bit different than what I normally talk about. But this is something that came to me, and this is something that I feel like I definitely want to share because I think this can be very valuable to understand, especially if you are an occult practitioner and if you are looking to go through initiations to gain power, to gain wisdom, and to gain understanding. So what we're going to be talking about in today's video is what I believe and many other people believe as well. 4 spirits that are absolutely necessary and essential for your own spiritual, psychological, physical, emotional, mental development, and especially if you are wanting to go down the path of initiation. So what we're going to be talking about once again in this video is 4 specific spirits that are absolutely important to have communication and to have connections with to go through these initiations to gain the power that you're looking for. Okay, so if you want to know what these 4 spirits are, then definitely stay tuned for the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely make sure you go and you check out my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have videos that are breakdown step-by-step practices. So for example, spiritual occult practices. So for example, I have videos where I'm breaking down how to do an invocation. I have a specific video where I teach you how to cast the circle of the dragon, which is essentially the symbol of the Ouroboros. And you know, in that video, I teach you how to summon specific spirits. Actually, a lot of half of those spirits are going to be on this video today. I teach you how to summon them by me doing it myself and telling you how to do it on video so that you know what you're doing, so that you get real results. These are very important practices. On my Patreon, I have those videos. Then the other bit of the videos that I have on my Patreon are going to be educational entertainment. That's what I call it. The videos are educational and they're also entertaining at the same time, which would be a video that's similar to this one. So none of these videos are on my YouTube channel. These are only for my Patreon members. And where you're going to be able to find the Patreon is if you go to the description, you're going to click the drop down. It's going to say My Patreon at the top. There's going to be that link there. Click that. And in order to gain access to the exclusive content, you have to at least be a tier 2 member or up. So in order to be a tier 2, it literally costs $9.95 a month, and that's a reoccurring payment. But if you do the math, that literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that with the value that I have on there. Okay? And as you go up in tiers, the benefits go up as well. And with that being said, I would like to give a special shout out to the top tier members already. Their names are going to be mentioned right below that link. Okay? Other than that, let's go right into this video. So this is the thing. So this video is not going to be too long. It's going to be right to the point. It's going to tell you what you need to know. Okay? So there's 4 specific spirits that are absolutely important to, once again, have connections with, to really go through initiations and have the best guidance to go through initiation. So what exactly does that mean? So when you have a spirit guiding you and bringing you through certain types of initiations, what does that really mean, and what does that look like? So a spirit is, you can think of a specific type of energetic intelligence. It is a real energetic intelligence. It is something that is tangible, and with the spirits that I'm talking about in this video, they are so powerful they can be considered actual forces of nature, meaning that they can cause extreme manifestation, they can cause extreme change, and they're known to be spirits of initiation. They're known to be initiators, which means since they're so powerful, they can literally take a human being through transformative experiences that literally change them from the inside out completely to a different person, leading them to their highest potential and leading them to transformation that brings more power, wisdom, and understanding and knowledge. Okay, so that's essentially what a spirit does, and that's why it's important to have what is known to be spirit guides. Now, it's important to know who your spirit guides are. It's important to know what spirits that you choose to be your spirit guides, because you want your spirit guides to be very powerful spirits. This is, you know, who I'm speaking to is people that are taking this practice serious. Now, some people have spirit guides with spirits that aren't necessarily initiators. Some people have spirit guides with spirits that aren't necessarily considered forces of nature, and that's fine. But once again, I'm speaking to people right now that are taking this practice serious and that really want to make progress and see real change. So these spirits that I'm going to mention in this video are definitely going to be those types of spirits that are going to literally be with you through transformation. And you may see that when you start invoking them and when you start working with them, developing an actual link, or you could say a connection with these spirits, you might find yourself going through some form of initiation. You might find yourself going through some form of challenges that are forcing you to get out of your comfort zone and forcing you to become a stronger, more powerful person. And you also might find that you're coming across certain information that you've never seen before, certain understandings that you've never understood before. Things of that nature will happen when you start connecting with these spirits. So that's, you know, that's kind of, this was meant to create the context for this video. Now let's start with the first spirit. The first spirit that we're going to talk about is what I believe to be probably the most powerful one, and that's going to be Hekate. Okay, Hekate. This is a well-known spirit in the Wiccan world, in the pagan world as well. I believe they call her the moon goddess. But just to make this clear, just to make this message clear, Hekate, when you are working with her from a Wiccan perspective or a pagan perspective, from the moon goddess perspective, most pagans and most Wiccans are not working with her in her darkest aspect. They're working with her, you know, just to, you know, add some extra magic to whatever they're doing. Maybe their spell, or maybe they're going to do a tarot card reading and they want her to influence them. And Hekate is that type of spirit where she's a very multifaceted spirit. She does show up as the moon goddess. And when you talk to a lot of Wiccans, they'll tell you that. They'll be like, oh yeah, that's the moon goddess. You see her sigil. It's got 2 moons in that circle in the middle. So yes, that is also an aspect of Hekate, but I want this to be clear. That is not even close to the totality of what Hekate really is. And from someone who has a really strong connection with Hekate, I want you guys to understand that Hekate is not just the moon goddess. Hekate is the queen of hell. She is known to be the mother of the ocean. She is known to be the mother of Lucifer. And the mother, you could even say the mother of Lucifer and the mother of many other spirits, maybe even Lilith. And she has strong connections to Sephrans, which I think there's a connection between Sephrans and Lilith, which is that dark feminine current, that dark aggressive feminine current. So basically what I'm saying is Hekate is not a joke. And yes, she does and can work with Wiccans, does and can work with pagans, people that view her as the moon goddess and just want like a little extra spiritual influence and things like that. But the real nature of Hekate, she wants people to initiate. So she will work with some people, give them, you know, signs how real she is, how powerful she is. But the truth is, she wants people to initiate. She wants people to transform. She wants people to gain power. She wants people to gain her power so that she can influence and work through those people. And also so that there can be a change in our society as we know it today, because there's a lot of corruption going on in our society that's preventing the real, that's preventing magic to flow in its you could say its highest potential. And these dark forces like Hekate, and you know, on the demonic side, they understand that, and they are working very intentfully and very hard to remove the corruption from our society. This is why we're seeing, you know, what we're seeing right now in our society, where people are getting arrested for pedophilia. People are getting arrested for all this fraud and stealing people's money through taxes. There's a lot of purging that's going on in our society right now. We're seeing, you know, hidden things coming up to the surface, and rather than in the past things have come to the surface and then they were let go, we're now nailing down on these things as a society, and we're essentially saying we're not having this corrupted bullshit anymore. We're done with this. We're done being controlled. We want truth now. And these dark forces are influencing this transformation in a very big way, because we're moving into an aeon, which I call the aeon of the vampire. We're moving into a new age where black magic, these forces are going to be in full control, and are going to be able to be expressed in a much more, you could say, authentic and not skewed way. Meaning that these forces are not going to be necessarily frowned upon the way they have in our society in the past, because of these people that are in the government that are corrupt. They have real knowledge, they have real information, they have the truth, essentially, you could say, but they're hiding that from other people. So they're telling people demons are evil. They're promoting religious beliefs. They're telling people don't question this because, you know, this, whatever. The dark hierarchy, the dark forces have been, you could say, hidden for a long time. And once again, the truth to the demonic and the dark forces, the dark gods, is there is a lot of power within them. There's a lot of knowledge and wisdom and understanding to gain from them. And that's the whole purpose. This is what all of our ancestors, going thousands of years back, going 4,000 years back, 3,000 years back, 2,000 years back, even longer, this is what we all understood. And yes, there has been cycles and different time frames and different, you could say, societies and different cultures where this information gets hidden, but then it always breaks back out and it comes back out. This is just the cycle of evolution. This is what happens. So we are in an interesting time, because we are in the age where things are coming to the surface. We are in the age where this information about initiation, this information about using occult forces to develop the self and transform the self and obtain the things that you want to obtain, we're in the age where this information is now coming to the surface and now is being exposed in its truth in regards to, yes, this is real. You can utilize this, and not only, yes, it's real and you can utilize it, but this is stuff that's actually been controlling most people in the society today. It's been used against you in society. It's been directed towards you to keep you locked into certain mindsets, certain beliefs, and prevents you from reaching your highest potential. It's like this. You learn from a highly skilled mentor in, let's say like martial arts. You learn from this mentor for years, and he teaches you, or she teaches you, how to fight so well, like to the point where no one can beat you. Like, you have every technique, you have every move you need. And then this is what happens. Now you realize you've gained the power, you've gained the wisdom, the understanding, and the knowledge of your mentor. So now you're like, I don't need my mentor anymore. So you say your goodbyes, you thank your mentor, but now you pull away from your mentor and you start using your fighting skills on people that, you know, let's say don't deserve it. So you start injuring, hurting random people just because you like the power that you figured out. And you like the fact that you learned this new skill, and you just unleash it on people that, once again, don't deserve it. Let's say people that, you know, come to fight against you, they're newer, they don't have the skill that you have, and you just demolish them. You use all your knowledge, all your skills, and you just demolish them. That's essentially what's going on in our government today. These people have found information, ancient texts that they're not sharing with everyone, and they're making real spiritual communion, gaining wisdom, knowledge, and power from dark forces and dark spirits, for sure. But a lot of these dark forces that they're utilizing do not want them to keep this information necessarily concealed the way that they're concealing it and keeping everyone locked into a box, because then that prevents other people from working with these spirits. And these spirits gain value, they gain power the more you work with them. So they want to be more understood, just like they have in previous cultures. And once again, our ancestors going thousands of years back, we used to be very shamanic. We used to be in tribes, and we used to understand these spirits just by intuition, just by knowing, just by the tribe having that group knowing that there's these spirits that are, with us, and that these spirits guide us, and then there would be certain ways to connect with those spirits. But now we live in a society where it's, everything's locked up in the mind, and it's so logical. It's this spirit. If you hear about this dark spirit, it's evil. Stay away from it. That spirit's going to tempt you. But they don't talk about how, yes, it's a dark spirit and it may tempt you to do certain things, but it doesn't tell you how that can be a challenge to initiate you, to help you grow, or even sometimes going into temptation just to break that boundary within yourself, to see how far and how deep you can really go with something that you've never really felt comfortable with or experienced before. So I just wanted to say that just to create another context of what's going on. So once again, going back to what it is with these 4 spirits, the first one is Hekate. She is an extremely powerful spirit. She is also known as she's known as the triple goddess. She's the mother, she's the crone, and she's the witch, the necromantic witch. And she is a spirit of the dead, 110%. So she has control and she has governance over many, many people who have died. Many spirits, many energies that have passed on to the next, wherever it is where they went after. She has the power of these spirits to help give to the person who's alive, working through their own transformation, through their own initiation. So how could that be beneficial? So let's say that you have, you're trying to initiate, you're trying to gain knowledge, wisdom, power. And once again, initiations connect to the Kabbalah, they connect to the spheres, and they connect to the pathways going into the spheres. So you have the tree of life, the backside is the tunnels of Set, the bottom end is the Qliphoth, and then there's a back end of the Qliphoth called universe. It's a different type of universe B, and that's called the realm of Amalek, which means mother strength. And that's the realm of reptiloids, and that's the realm of dragons, you could say. But this is the thing. For everyone that's walked that path in their life, that has been successful with it, she can give you their knowledge. She can give you their influence, their inspiration from the spirits of the dead. She can also give you other abilities from the spirits of the dead. Let's say someone was a very strong warrior, and then when that person ended up dying, whenever they died in their lifetime, that spirit of that person is still a warrior spirit. So Hekate has the power to give you, let's say that person that was a warrior, that person's warrior spirit. This is what you need to understand. She's an extremely powerful spirit. She can teach you many different things. She has many different familiars. She's known to have hounds that guard the ones that work with her and the ones that have a connection with her. So she has these dogs that will literally rip to shreds anything that is going to harm the initiate or harm the person that's trying to develop themselves, if that harm is not a part of their initiation, if that harm is out of context, if that harm is coming from just somebody random. Hekate has dogs that guard her, once again, initiates, so that they can go through the transformation, they can go through the challenges that they need to go through without external challenge, without what I mean by that is without challenges that are not a part of their initiation. So anyone that would try and stop you from initiating, from gaining knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and power, that's what she can protect you from. And she has these dogs that protect you, and they're very powerful dogs. And you'll notice when you start working with her, you'll start being aware of people's dogs. You'll start seeing people's dogs more. So that's one spirit. And she's also known as the spirit that can, Hekate is known as a spirit that can take on the head of a frog. Okay, and there's a reason for that. And this is a very important thing to understand. The reason for that is because going back to what I said about the Kabbalah, you have the tree of life, the tunnels of Set. When you're going through transformation, you're traveling through those pathways. Hekate is being known as a spirit that can change her appearance to a frog, excuse me. She's known to be able to take the initiates from one pathway to the next pathway to the next pathway. Now, the reason why that's important to understand is because for someone who is getting into the occult, that is just looking for the right information, looking to do it the fastest way possible, the safest way possible, and to gain the powers that, you know, you pretty much want to gain. Yeah, so I mean, essentially that's literally it, to gain the powers that you want to gain, but also doing it the safest way possible and doing it the fastest way possible, like literally doing it the most effective way. It's like having a roadmap. Hekate, if you do your own research and you have the knowledge, or you know someone that has the knowledge, I have the knowledge of which pathways those are, the safest pathways to travel, you can use Hekate to, as you know, let's say you're working through the tunnels of Set, as you travel through Dath and you get to the tunnels of Set and you open on the other side, you can use Hekate to jump from this path to that path to this path to this path, and then avoid all the other paths, so that you can gain the essential powers on each of those paths that you jump to, and then you will be able to then, you know, finish through the tunnels of Set and then go back through Dath and then, you know, be back on the Sephirothic side. So that's important for people that, you know, once again, want to do it the quick way and want to do it the safe way. Me, I travel through all the paths because I'm a real black magician. I'm not doing this necessarily the safe way. I've been protected on my path the entire time. I am safe. I'm not worried about that, but I'm definitely doing it the more challenging way, gaining every single power that I could possibly gain from this Kabbalah system in its totality. So I've been traveling through all the paths, gaining all the different types of powers. And Hekate is also a great spirit to have connections with, to help you transition from one path to the next path, or even transition to, let's say that you're going from this path and then it would make more sense for you to go to this path and then come back to this path. That's what Hekate can also do with you as well. She's a very powerful spirit, okay? So that's that. I'm definitely glad I spent most of this video talking about Hekate, because that's how powerful she is, and that's what I need you to understand. So yes, very powerful spirit. I would recommend developing a connection with her to really get the most out of your initiation and to really do it the safest and proper way with her guidance and with her protection. Okay, so there's that. Next one on the list, Lucifer. Lucifer is known to be the son of Hekate. So you can think of Hekate as being the galaxy. You can think of Lucifer being the universe. So Lucifer is a very important, powerful spirit as well. I have a video on Lucifer, on why I believe Lucifer is so powerful. But Lucifer, in his essence, is a spirit that is chaotic. He is a demonic spirit, but he's also Lucifer, which means the light bringer, the light bearer. So in that chaotic nature that Lucifer is, being a ruler of the demonic, being a ruler of the demonic hierarchies, he has an intention within him. And that intention is wanting to bring order and structure to chaos. So even though Lucifer has governance amongst many demons, many demons, many demons, and he has governance over many different types of other legions. He has governance over certain locations. Lucifer is a very powerful demonic force, but an infernal force, 100%. But he has that intention where he wants to bring order, even though he is a ruler of, once again, these demonic forces. So for the person that he works with, for the person that builds a connection with Lucifer, Lucifer wants to teach the person, the initiate, how to gain that power over chaos, to use that power that you gain. Because when you start to develop yourself using these demonic forces, chaotic forces, you become demonic in nature. You become chaotic in nature. You become a chaotic being in nature. But you're not a chaotic being the same way other people are chaotic beings. Some people are being possessed by chaotic forces because magic, occult magic, is being used on them, and they don't have protection, they don't have knowledge, they don't have understanding, they don't have wisdom. All they really do is have a parasite that sucks their energy, makes them chaotic, and sucks out their awareness. This is what the masses are considered. This is what a lot of people are in our society. That's why you see a lot of people look like zombies a lot of the times. It's because they have a parasite. Lucifer develops you, transforms you in chaos. He changes your genetic structure. He changes your energetic structure. So when it comes to your chakras, he gets rid of your chakras. He's one of those spirits that will teach you how important it is to get rid of your chakras the way that you know your chakras. So the 7 chakras, those are energy centers to empower that parasitic entity that sucks people's mental capacity and awareness away so that they don't know what's being done to them in our day-to-day life or in their day-to-day life. And it causes a lot of chaos for them, and then it causes them to never really progress, in the way that is in their best interest, because they have a parasitic entity that's eating up all their awareness. So they just end up choosing, life isn't fair, I'm a victim, this is not fun, I hate my life, so I'm going to make sure you hate yours because it's not fair for me, so it shouldn't be fair for you either. This is people that are just upset with themselves and upset with life and feel like there's nothing they can do about it. It's because their awareness is being sucked out of them. And once again, with the chakra system, the 7 chakra system that so many people practice and so many people use, I highly recommend you stop right now if you're watching this video, because these chakra systems, these centers, were created by people that have a lot more knowledge, understanding, and power than you do. And they place that information out there for a specific reason, because they know when people start to get into magical practices, the first thing they're probably going to come across is the 7 chakra system. And they know that people are going to do meditations where they are drawing their awareness on these different centers, and these centers have been energetically programmed, you could say, in the astral plane, in the etheric realm, and they have done ritual to program all 7 of these energetic structures, so that when you draw your awareness on them and you focus on them, it turns your awareness into that parasite, which you could think of as like a larvae. If you've ever seen a larvae before, like a bug, a larvae, when you focus on these energetic centers, whatever one you're focusing on, it's strengthening this parasite that moves up to the top of your head and then sucks all of your awareness out. And the more chakra work you do, the stronger you're going to make that parasite. And then it gets to a point where your awareness is completely gone, and then you become one of those light workers that is really like off their rock and doesn't have a scientific understanding about what they're doing, why they're doing it, or what's going on. They're just talking to crystals, they're channeling aliens, and they're not able to really connect with anyone in society because they're essentially crazy, okay? Because their awareness is sucked out. You don't want to be like that. If you're doing chakra work, stop. Lucifer is one of those spirits that will completely change your energetic being, will erase your chakra centers, will build different types of energy centers within your body, and he'll make you aware of the real energy centers that you have in your body. And he'll teach you mechanisms and techniques to strengthen those energy centers. And a lot of that happens just through typical initiations. A lot of that happens through just doing invocations of spirits like Lucifer. And a lot of that happens with going through the specific experiences that those spirits like Lucifer bring into your life, because they force you to change. They force you to be something else. And then also Lucifer, Hekate, and the other 2 spirits that I'm going to mention, they're such powerful spirits that they have governance over astrological sciences as well. So they can lead you to the path, they can lead you to the doorways, they can lead you to the keys that cause you to unlock cosmic power, which means if you can unlock that, astrology will work for you. What do I mean by that? The stars, the planets will align for your own self-development. The magician or the initiate that has unlocked those keys. So spirits like Hekate, Lucifer, and the other two I'm going to mention have the power, have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to lead you to those keys, but the initiate has to walk to them and unlock them themselves. So that's that as well. Okay, so as I said, so Lucifer is one of those spirits that is very important to work with and understand. And once again, as I said in the other video, which I highly recommend you check out about Lucifer that I made, which is not too far down in my videos, it's pretty recent. He's known to be the spirit that fell from heaven, which means fall from the Sephirothic tree, and then go to hell. So Lucifer, essentially, what that's saying, the fallen angel, he's the one that fell from the Sephiroth, which is the tree of life. Remember, it's the tree of life. You have the Sephiroth on the front, then you have the tunnels of Set on the back, then you have the Qliphoth on the bottom. So right there, the Qliphoth is right here. So Lucifer fell from the Sephiroth to the Qliphoth. So that means Lucifer has knowledge of hell, because, you know, he fell to hell and then he gained power in hell. He gained rulership in hell. So how did he gain power? How did he gain rulership? How did he gain knowledge? He obviously knew something. He obviously made some good choices. He's a wise spirit. He's a powerful, smart spirit to work with. So he will teach you what you need to know in those hell realms, from the shells of the Qliphoth, which there's tons of people, as I said, having that parasitic entity that exists on the top of their head that sucks their awareness. What that does is it shells their soul so that they stay in this parasitic mindset, and all the good things, no good things really come to their life, and they suffer because their soul gets shelled and their awareness gets sucked out. And then they don't know it because they don't have awareness anymore. So that shell that happens to their soul gets brought down to the Qliphoth, gets brought down to the hell realms. And Lucifer, being a spirit that has direct rulership of the Qliphoth, he has rulership over souls. So that's also another reason why people sell their souls to Lucifer. Because Lucifer, if someone sells their soul to Lucifer, then he has the ability, if the person's serious, he has the ability to help that person transform their soul completely, to help restructure their soul and to free their soul if it's already been shelled. So that's, you know, that can happen. But also what can happen is, let's say you sell your soul to Lucifer and you end up going down the wrong path, meaning you sell your soul just because you want money, cars, and fame and all that stuff, and you don't really work for any of it. You don't do anything. You're not working towards what you want. Lucifer can also, you had just handed your soul to him, so he can say, oh, you're not gonna do anything for it, you're not gonna work for it, thanks for handing me your soul, and put it down in hell, and then your life will be shit. Also, there's other things that can happen. You can sell your soul to Lucifer, and then if you only give your soul to Lucifer, and he's the only spirit that has control over your soul. Let's say there's another black magician that comes along like myself, and I don't like you, and you're causing harm to me and my family, or my friends, or whatever it is for me. And let's say I have a strong connection with Lucifer. I know you sold your soul to Lucifer. I can talk to Lucifer, and depending on who's more powerful, which is most likely going to be me, I can buy my soul, or I can buy your soul from Lucifer because you sold it to him. And I can say, Lucifer, what do I need to do to buy this person's soul? And then we'll work something out. He'll probably just say, do an invocation of me, visualize this, and do this a couple times, and then you'll have that person's soul. So that's how it can work as well. It just depends on who's more powerful. So if there's someone that thinks just because they sold their soul to Lucifer that they're this all-powerful being, that's not true. So don't let power get to your mind. Don't let power get to your head where it's like, oh, I sold my soul to Lucifer. That means I can be a dick to people. That means I can take advantage of whoever I want. Because then a black magician like myself could come through, and then I could buy your soul from Lucifer, the spirit that you think makes you so powerful. I could buy your own soul from him, and then destroy you and ruin your life. I could shellize your soul, re-shellize it, and then I can curse you and do whatever I want to you. I could choose where I want you to be. I could choose where your soul gets shelled, because there's different hell realms. And I could put you into the tunnels of Set as well and have you get devoured by other demonic forces, whatever it is. But that can happen. So Lucifer also, as I'm saying, has rulership over souls. When I started my practice, I made a pact with Lucifer, which is essentially a contract. So I told Lucifer that I want to gain, pretty much in short, I want to gain all of his power. I want to gain all the power. I want to gain permanent protection. I want my family to have permanent protection. I want to have financial freedom. Pretty much what I was asking for in short was I wanted all of Lucifer's power. And I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I put his sigil on it, and then I burnt it. And I made that contract. And ever since I did that, that's when I came across the path of initiation, which led me to Qliphothic initiation, which then took me to the tunnels of Set. By opening the shells of the Qliphoth, it also led me to the tunnels of Set, which is very interesting, but that's what happened. So yeah, I did that, and ever since then, that's how I have the knowledge I have now. So he's a great spirit because, once again, he can teach you exactly where you need to go. He can teach and show you exactly where you need to go to initiate, and he's essential for that. It's not just like, oh, like maybe you should work with him to go through this initiation or to learn this type of knowledge. He's essential. He is a spirit that you will come in contact with. Like, you will come in contact with him. And any of these spirits that I'm mentioning, you will come in contact with them. Hekate, Lucifer, you will come across them when you're going through these initiations that I'm talking about, through the dark initiations, which have to do with the tunnels of Set, which have to do with opening the shells of the Qliphoth to work through them, and integrate them and understand them. So Lucifer is one of those spirits, as I said, 100%, that can help guide you through the tunnels of Set, and can also teach you and guide you in regards to the shells in the Qliphoth, and teach you about what these different hell realms are, what's their purpose, where are people at in our society, how is this affecting our society, and where, like, what kind of energy goes into these shells and things in that nature. Okay. And Lucifer is a very multifaceted spirit. Once again, I mean, he's also a spirit of balance. He will teach you how to be balanced. He's also, he is a spirit that can bring challenge in your life that can be really tough and really hard to understand at first. But once you go through it, whether you're successful or fail, then you'll gain a knowledge of, whoa, that was a challenge. I see what I went through. Next time, if this happens to me, I'm going to handle it this way. So Lucifer is also that kind of spirit. So if you don't necessarily pass your first challenges, he'll show you what you messed up on, so that in the future, you don't make that same mistake. And this is also assuming that you have that type of mindset where you're wanting to know the truth. You're wanting to be successful. If you're not taking it serious, you're not wanting to be successful, you're doing invocations of these spirits, you're going to find yourself in a very scary place. You're going to find yourself in a very dark place, because this shit is going to get really real for you. Meaning you're going to feel different types of energies influence you. You're going to feel your mind start to pressurize and start to want you to take action on the path that you're saying that you want to walk. But if you're not taking it serious, and you're thinking that you can just summon these spirits and gain all this worldly power without having to go through initiations, without having to go through challenges, without having to go through the certain pathways that bring in the transformation that you need to be this powerful person, then you're delusional, because that is something you have to go through. And once again, if you're not wanting to go through that, then you better stop doing invocations of these spirits. Then you better stop working with them. You should just turn away from the occult in general, because why would you be involved with it if you're not really trying to gain the knowledge, wisdom, power that it has to offer? Okay, so the third spirit that we're going to be talking about, third spirit is going to be Belial. Okay, Belial is a ruler. He has Belial was said to be created right after Lucifer. So you can think of this. So Hekate is the mother of the galaxy. Lucifer's the ruler of the universe, and then Belial you can think of as the ruler of Earth. Okay, the ruler of Earth. So Belial, and that says a lot right there, because Belial can teach you a lot about Earth energies. So if you're a magician, a black magician, and you're gaining, you're wanting to gain power, you're going to definitely want to become a master of Earth energies, because to be a master of Earth energies means you create your empire here on Earth. You can cause any change that you say or want here on Earth. And obviously this takes a lot of time, this takes a lot of practice to be able to gain that level of power, but Belial is a spirit that is directly connected with that ability to master Earth energies, because he is known to be an Earth spirit. That spirit that can bestow that knowledge, that wisdom, that understanding that you need to master those Earth energies. So Belial also has rulership of pretty much all of the Ars Goetia, meaning that Belial can send any of the Ars Goetia to aid you or to help you or to do whatever he needs. If let's say you're working with Belial, you're developing a connection with him, and he sees that you're initiating and you're telling him, hey, Belial, I want you to guide me. I want to create a connection with you. I want to gain your power. And if you're serious and if you're serious and that's true and you really are wanting those things, then Belial can, he'll guide you. He'll work with you. He'll give you astral protection. Belial is known to have scorpion armor. You can look this up from Mark Allen Smith. He talks a lot about it. And I've experienced it myself. Belial is an extremely powerful spirit when it comes to protection when you start to go through your initiations, because remember, initiations are essentially, they are dangerous, but when you have the right spirit guides, you can be fully protected. So Belial is very important for protection. Very, very important. He has that astral scorpion armor, and his attitude teaches you how to be aggressive with forces that are aggressive to you, so that they don't push that boundary. And it teaches you how to resist certain things that are not in your best interest. So, and as I said, Belial has a lot of rulership over many of the Ars Goetia. So if you're going through something and Belial sees that you need some extra guidance, or you need some extra, you need something else that a different Ars Goetic demon can provide for you, Belial can send that Ars Goetia to go and help you out. And that's the same thing with Lucifer and the same thing with Hekate. But Belial, being an earthly spirit, being a spirit that's directly connected to Earth, has much more, like Hekate and Lucifer are probably going to leave it up to Belial to have the Ars Goetia aid you, because Belial and most of the Ars Goetia are earthly in nature. The demons, the Ars Goetic demons, are earthly. They have a very strong earth connection. So Belial can say, hey, I need you here, I need you here, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, and they will go and they'll do that because he's a powerful spirit. So that's Belial, very powerful. I highly recommend you do invocations and you build a connection with him, because once again, he will give you massive amounts of protection as you're going through your initiations, and he will teach you how to master earth energies, which also has a lot to do with learning about the Ars Goetia and how to use them to your best benefit, teaching you how to use the Ars Goetia, how to employ them to do certain things, how to send them to do certain things. And then, yeah, I mean, just teaches you how to master the earth energies, which just makes it easier for you to be, empowered by demons in general. So that, he's a very important spirit. He's also known not to be the easiest spirit to work with. For me, I've always been fiery in my nature. It might have to do a little bit with me being Scorpio, but I'm also Libra at the same time. But I've always had a pretty fiery nature to me. So when I work with Belial, it wasn't anything that was too far out of the ordinary for me. But he is a spirit that will cause you to confront certain authority in your life that is not in your best interest. if someone is confronting you all the time, or someone's giving you a hard time, or they're saying things that is throwing you off or whatever, Belial is a spirit that will look that person in the eye and say, do not fucking do that again. Stop. Like, Belial is that kind of spirit that will tell somebody to shut the fuck up when they're stepping out of line. And he'll make it clear that you need to get your shit together. If someone's trying to push that boundary on you, and he'll make it clear that you need to tell that person that they can't do that, and he'll influence you to do that. So he does have that fiery nature, but that teaches you how to protect yourself, and that teaches you how to stand up for yourself. And once you've integrated that ability, then you have a lot of power, because life isn't always like that. So then when you step back and you look at the big picture of things, you feel a lot more confident, you feel a lot more comfortable, because you have this skill set and you have these abilities and you know what you're capable of, and now people don't mess with you. And also what that does is it strengthens your energetic body in a different way too. It teaches you different things, and it gives you, once again, a different energetic structure, so that people don't mess with you. Because the more people that you stand up to, the more people that the more true you are to yourself, in regards to when someone says something that's, let's say, offensive, or something that's just out of line, they shouldn't have said it, and you say, hey, what did you mean by that? Why are you saying that? And the more you stand up for yourself and you confront you could say, challengers, you build up an energetic presence that people can actually feel, where you can walk into a building and people will not want to challenge you, because they can tell energetically in your energetic body that you stood up to many of your challengers, so they don't want to become a challenger. They'll sense that. They'll feel that presence from you. They'll be like, oh, that person definitely seems like they know what they're talking about. I don't want to challenge them, because they've definitely, I can tell that they've been challenged before, and I don't want to have to be wrong. That's what people will probably think. So take that for what it's worth. Okay, so that's Belial. The fourth spirit. Okay, the fourth spirit is going to be Lilith. Okay, Lilith is very powerful, because she is a very dark, seductive, feminine current of energy. Lilith is a spirit that, once again, has a lot of rulership in the Qliphoth. It's Lilith and Samuel. They are two of the main primary spirits that pretty much gave birth to a good portion of the infernal hierarchy. Lilith is known to be the mother of all demons. Samuel is the angel of darkness. Together, Lilith and Samuel bred Cain, who was known to be the first witch, the first human witch. So they are primary initiators. So you have Lilith and Samuel, but right now we're talking about Lilith. Lilith is extremely important. She will also open up doors for the initiate to come across the Qliphoth, to come across the tunnels of Set, to come across the information and the pathways that they need to come across to start going through initiations. But also, Lilith can show the person that feminine, that dark feminine. Okay, so it's this dark, seductive feminine that is whorish. It's got a whorish aspect to it. It's got a what's the word? Like a whore, like a slut, like that kind of aspect to it. But it teaches the initiate to not judge that, to no longer judge the whore. So as a man and as a woman, it's important to understand this. You don't want to judge that, because that whore, that slut of a woman that's being possessed by that energy, you have to understand that girl that's taking on that energy, that female that's taking on that energy, because it's a dark feminine, so it's female in its nature, she's very free, and her expression is through the roof. If she can be open about her sexuality, which is what is your sexuality? What is the sexual force? That is one of the most powerful forces there is in the occult in general. So for a female to be so open and so able to express her sexuality that she's not afraid to say, oh yeah, I've slept with him, and oh, I would sleep with you, and things of that nature. In our society, we're trained and we're programmed to think that's a slut, she's a whore, she's dirty, all this stuff. And yes, there are some people that obviously are dirty, and you know, that they do things, they do like slutty things or whorish things just to kind of do it, and they're still not expressing their sexuality. This is not the same kind of person that I'm talking about. For someone that does like whorish things or slut things, like cheats on their significant other or whatever, and doesn't express their sexuality, like someone that that thinks in their mind, oh, I'm being a whore, I'm being a slut, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm still going to do it. That's not the person I'm talking about. I'm talking about the whore and the slut, the sacred whore, the sacred, dark, seductive, feminine energy that is open about what they are and what they're doing and what they would do. So I'm talking about like a female, a very feminine person who says, yeah, I would totally have sex with you. I feel like that would be a great experience. Oh, and yeah, I've had sex with him, I've had sex with him, and I did this. This is an expressive person. This is someone who opens up about their sexuality and once again expresses their true sexual nature. So Lilith being the dark, you could think of Lilith as being this really dark, feminine, seductive spirit that can lure the initiate in to certain knowledge and certain understandings and certain powers, essentially. So Lilith will often show up in that form of being that sexual type of person, that open, expressive, sexual, sort of slutty, whorish kind of person. And it will be very seductive, meaning you will be drawn towards it. You'll feel a very strong connection towards that because we all are a part of that. We all have that within us to express our sexual nature. And often Lilith can cause the initiate to have sexual intercourse with these types of people. And by having that sexual intercourse, it actually changes you and it can open up certain doorways on the path of the initiate. So that's something that's not really talked about, but that's what sex magic is. And there is a process to sex magic and certain ways that you do it, but that can happen, okay? So she can influence other people to come into your path, raise that sexual energy in you and draw you in through that sexual energy, and then alchemically transform you through that. And then there's so that's one aspect of how Lilith can be a very important spirit. She really teaches the person about their sexuality, about that most powerful energy there is in the occult, which is that sexual energy. And it comes from the really dark feminine, okay? So that's one of the important parts to really create a connection with Lilith, because otherwise, if you don't really have that understanding, or if you don't really have a connection with Lilith, and as I said, you go in our society, there's so much programming, there's so much indoctrination. Remember, people have these parasitic entities that are sucking out their awareness. They're just going off of what they've been told. They're going off of what other people have told them, and they're not really understanding. So people will say, oh, that's a slut, that's a whore, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. But in reality, there's something very initiatory about that. There's something very powerful about that. And then all these people that are pointing the finger and doing this, they're just upset. These are people that do not like themselves. They don't like their life. So for you to listen to what they're saying, or maybe you heard it on the news or whatever you got this information from, whores are bad, sluts are bad, people that express their sexuality that open, they must be a slut, they must be a whore, they're no good. For people that once again, that are pointing that finger, they're not happy. They haven't expressed that sexual energy within themselves, and that's why they probably don't look too healthy, because they're not initiating the proper way, and they're spending a lot of time resisting something that's actually good for them. So that's a different type of resistance. When people resist things that are good for them, that means the ego is resisting. Well, essentially, it just means that they're resisting. It's not good to resist things that are good for you. Okay, so that's pretty much all you need to know. And then Lilith can also seduce you into certain experiences that you normally wouldn't have gone through if she didn't seduce you into that. So how could that look? So maybe you come across with somebody that you're really attracted to, and they're very possessed or influenced by Lilith, and that person invites you to go somewhere that you normally would have never went. You probably, even if it was your good friends, you probably would have been like, nah, I'm not going to go to that. But because it's that person that's influenced by Lilith, that's very, very seductive and can essentially wrap you in, then you might say yes to that circumstance or that situation, and then have an experience that you never would have previously had because you wouldn't have shown up. But you went, you showed up, you had an experience that actually ended up changing your life. That's also what Lilith can do as well. And you know, Lilith has control over many other types of sexual, dark feminine spirits as well, that you know, as you build a connection with Lilith, she can use those spirits to help guide you and to help you on your path. So let's say you're coming in contact with someone that, you know, is giving you a really hard time, or whatever the situation might be. Lilith can use a spirit to distract that person so that you can do what it is that you need to do. There's a lot of things that Lilith can do, and a lot of people don't like working with Lilith, and a lot of people are afraid of working with Lilith. But the truth is yeah, she can be a tricky spirit to work with, because she's, once again, just like these other spirits, she's very multifaceted, and some people are afraid of their own sexuality. And I would say those are the types of people that are afraid to work with Lilith. They're afraid to be open. They're afraid to fully open up, because when you work with Lilith, you're gonna have to open up. And you're gonna start seeing, even as a man, as a masculine, energetic person, you're gonna see that feminine in you. You're gonna see that feminine, that dark feminine in yourself. And that can be very shocking to someone who didn't know that, or someone who didn't know that they could feel that. But also, another aspect of Lilith is an aspect of knowing your worth at the same time. So we have the whore, the slut, you could say aspect, but then there's also the aspect that's like, no, like I'm a powerful feminine embodiment of this energy of Lilith, and I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. You know, I'm not gonna let someone take advantage of me, because I know what power I hold. You know, with that dark feminine energy, when that possesses you, you also have a strong understanding of your worth, your sexual worth, meaning you're not going to waste your sexual expression on just anybody that doesn't deserve it. So if someone comes in your path and, you know, they're not on the same page as you, and you're not having that connection, why waste your time with them? You know, that Lilith energy, the Lilith influence would be like, do you know who I am? Do you know what I am? Like, I'm not going to waste my expression, my sexual energy with you if you can't express the way I can express. And that would typically be in regards to, you know, you're being influenced by Lilith, and you're having this really open expression, and then someone else is like, oh, like, why are you expressing like that? Like, I want you to be more in a box. I want you to be more closed-minded. That kind of person. Then you would feel that influence of like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're obviously not happy. Like, get the fuck away from me. That's what that Lilith influence can do as well. It can cause you to know your worth. So there's obviously two spectrums to that. So now you can see why Lilith, Lucifer can come in handy as well, because Lucifer is a balance bringer. And being a dark feminine current in nature is a very chaotic current, because once again, I just explained it, knowing your worth, but also being very open and expressive. Knowing your worth, being slut and whorish, like literally being so open that society would call you a slut and society would call you a whore, but you really understand that you've had deep spiritual connections with every single person you've slept with. And if you're coming from that state of mind and you're not doing it just to get another body on your list, then that's very initiatory, and that's a very initiatory thing. So, you know, Lucifer brings a lot of balance, and then once again, Belial, tons of protection, and then Hekate, you know, Hekate is like the one who looks over all of it. Hekate is just this extremely powerful spirit. That's why I spend so much time talking about her. But yeah, so that's going to wrap it up, guys. So that's the 4 spirits that I highly recommend that you work with, especially if you're going to be taking this practice serious, and if you're going to be going through initiations, or at least if that's your intention. Okay, these 4 spirits are the spirits that I worked with. I've gotten crazy results, amazing results, great results. I'm still working with these spirits till this day, and there is a reason why I made this video on these 4 spirits specifically, so definitely take advantage of that. Other than that, I'm going to wrap it up here. Hit the thumbs up. hit the notification bell and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more videos like this. Then the Patreon, once again, in the description, is going to be the very first link there. Okay, then you go to the second link below. That'll take you to the Facebook community. On there, I post in the form of written and in the form of pictorial quotes. And once I get 50 people in that group, I'm going to be posting on there consistently. And other than that, it's going to wrap it up. So I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful rest of the day or night wherever you are. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.